Hey there. Ready to unlock some serious word power? We're going to dive deep into the world of copywriting today.
Yeah.
We're sifting through all this stuff from AWAI, the American Writers and Artists Institute.
Right.
Really want to uncover what's got everyone buzzing about this whole copywriting thing.
It's everywhere you look these days.
Yeah. So think of this deep dive as your cheat sheet
Yeah.
to not only understanding what it is, but also maybe how to, cash in on it.
I like the way you think. And you know what? I'm here to make sure we actually connect all these fascinating little details to the bigger picture. Because let's be honest, learning about persuasive writing is one thing, right?
Yeah.
But how can you actually use it to level up your communication, influence decisions,
Right.
maybe even land that dream vacation?
Ooh, I like where we're going.
We're going to get into all of that.
Okay, I am so ready. But first things first,
Let's do it.
what is copywriting exactly? I feel like a lot of people hear that and they think, oh, you mean writing ads?
Yeah, you see copywriting and you picture those jingles you fast forward through, right?
Totally.
But these AWAI materials, they really stress that it's way beyond just ads.
Right.
They define it more as the art of using words strategically
Okay.
to get people to take action.
So instead of being a wordsmith, it's more like being a persuader of wordsmiths.
It's less about being a poet and more about being a strategist.
Yeah.
You understand what makes people tick. You craft a message that hits the mark.
Okay.
And then you're guiding them towards a specific action.
Oop.
And speaking of action, these materials paint a very clear picture. Companies are desperate
Oh, right.
for skilled copywriters right now. They're willing to pay top dollar
Why is that?
because it's we're in the midst of this copywriting gold rush.
A gold rush.
A gold rush. Companies are pouring billions into online marketing. Websites, social media, digital ads, you name it, it all relies on copy.
Well, that makes sense. Everything's online now.
Exactly. And get this, I actually looked it up because the AWAI materials mention this.
Okay.
Digital marketing spending hit a record-breaking $441 billion in 2023.
Wow.
And the projection is for this to just skyrocket even higher in 2024.
No wonder businesses are scrambling, trying to find anyone who can string a sentence together these days.
Right. And it's funny, you mentioned earlier how these copywriting principles, they reach way beyond just selling.
Yeah.
The materials even highlighted a few instances of writers using these skills to support local businesses.
Yeah. They gave that example of the bakery.
Or even swing a luxurious anniversary getaway. It's not just about profits, it's about using your words to make things happen.
Absolutely. That bakery example from the AWAI materials was amazing. A freelance copywriter helped them increase online sales by 400%
Wow.
in just 3 months.
That's huge.
Just by rewriting their website copy and sprucing up their social media posts.
It's incredible what a difference the right words can make.
It really is. It's not just about selling products either. Imagine you're trying to rally your friends to try that new restaurant downtown.
Right.
Or convince your family to go on that staycation you've been dreaming of. By understanding your audience, even in casual settings like that, you can present your case persuasively.
Totally.
And actually get them on board.
It's about strategically framing your message.
Okay.
Highlighting the benefits.
Right.
And then using language that resonates with your specific audience.
So it's almost like you're subtly selling the idea
Yeah.
without them even realizing.
Exactly. And that's what makes copywriting so fascinating. These principles, they're so versatile,
Okay.
valuable, regardless of what you're doing.
But let's get real for a moment.
Okay.
One thing that always makes me hesitate when I hear about these lucrative fields is the whole experience factor. These materials talk about landing high-paying clients, right? But what about those of us who are starting with a blank page?
That's a valid concern. You see those job postings
Well, no.
that practically demand years of experience.
Yes, before you even hit apply.
Exactly. It can be super intimidating. But here's where the AWAI materials, they offer this really reassuring perspective.
Okay.
In copywriting, it often boils down to the ideas.
Really?
The ideas you bring to the table.
Interesting.
Think of it less about what you've done and more about what you can do.
So your potential.
Yes.
Yeah.
How you think, your ability to connect with an audience, your ability to offer a fresh perspective, all that.
So a killer portfolio and a genuine passion for this stuff
Yes.
can actually outweigh the need for years of corporate jargon on your resume.
Absolutely. In fact, the materials highlight several successful copywriters. And these people, they didn't come from marketing backgrounds.
Oh, wow.
There were teachers, engineers, even stay-at-home parents who decided, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm good with words. I'm going to leverage that.
That's awesome.
They honed their skills, they built impressive portfolios, and they proved that passion combined with the right approach can be so much more valuable than like a resume packed with corporate jargon.
That is incredibly encouraging.
Right.
So let's say you've got the skills, you've got that passion, you're ready to ditch the whole aspiring title and actually land some clients.
I love it. Let's go.
Let's talk about that often dreaded subject. Fees.
Ooh, yeah.
Where do you even begin to figure out what to charge for this stuff?
That's such a common question, and it trips up so many new copywriters because it can feel awkward putting a price tag on your creativity, you know?
Yes.
But you have to remember you're offering a valuable service.
Right.
A service that has the potential to seriously impact a client's bottom line.
That is a really good point.
Right.
Yes.
And the AWAI materials, they do a fantastic job of driving that point home.
Okay, good.
They really, really encourage copywriters to understand their worth. Don't be afraid to ask for what you deserve.
And how do they recommend figuring that number out?
Well, they provide a great starting point with their copywriting pricing guide.
Okay.
It breaks down like industry standard fees for all sorts of projects, like everything from website copywriting to email campaigns, even things like video scripts and social media content.
Oh, wow. So it's pretty comprehensive.
It's super valuable.
Yeah.
Just to understand the financial landscape and make sure you're getting paid fairly.
That pricing guide was super helpful for me. It really lays things out in a way that's easy to understand. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, we have to address the elephant in the room. Or should we say the AI in the room?
Oh, here we go.
Is artificial intelligence poised to, like, steal all the copywriting jobs?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Right.
It's a topic that deserves its own deep dive.
Totally.
And we'll definitely explore it more in depth in a future episode. But for now, let's just say this.
Okay.
While AI can be a useful tool for certain copywriting tasks, think like generating those quick product descriptions or social media captions we all see, it still lacks a crucial element that we humans possess.
Okay.
The human touch.
Okay, so when we talk about human touch in this context, what exactly do we mean?
Well, that's where things like creativity, empathy, and a deep understanding of human emotion, all that comes into play, right? Because AI, for all its advancements, it's still basically a pattern recognition machine at its core.
Interesting.
Like, it can analyze tons of data.
Right.
It can mimic human language.
Okay.
But it can't truly grasp the nuances of emotion.
Right.
The art of persuasion.
Yeah.
Those subtle ways our brains respond to certain phrases or stories, you know?
So AI might be able to string together a sentence that's, like, grammatically correct.
Right, exactly.
But it can't evoke, like, a feeling the same way a human can.
Right. Think about the ads that really stay with you. The ones that, like, truly resonate. They don't just tell you about features, or they tell a story.
Right.
They tap into, like, your desires, your aspirations, maybe even your fears in a way that feels authentic and compelling.
Okay.
That's the human touch.
And speaking of stories, these AWAI materials were packed with them.
Oh, yeah.
They showcased, like, tons of examples of successful copywriters from all different backgrounds, different styles.
Right.
But that common thread was their ability to weave these compelling narratives.
It's about connecting with your audience on a deeper level.
Okay.
Understanding their needs, their desires, even their pain points.
And the AWAI method, which they explain in these materials, really emphasizes that empathy aspect.
Huge. You got to put yourself in the reader's shoes.
See the world from their perspective, understand their motivations, what makes them tick.
It's like that Maya Angelou quote. People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel.
Ooh, I like that.
And that's what good copywriting does. It evokes a feeling.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so you've got that deep understanding of your audience. How do you actually translate that into persuasive copy?
Right. How do you put it into practice? Because the AWAI materials mentioned, like using vivid language, telling stories, focusing on benefits over features.
Yeah. Let's break those down.
Okay.
So vivid language, it's about painting a picture with your words.
Okay.
Creating an immersive experience for the reader. Instead of saying, like, this car is fast.
Right. You might say, Feel the rush of adrenaline as you grip the wheel, the wind whipping past you as you accelerate from 0 to 60 in a breathtaking 4.2 seconds.
Okay, now I'm picturing myself behind the wheel of a sports car. I can practically feel the wind in my hair.
Right.
That's much more effective than just stating a fact.
Exactly. It's about engaging the senses. And speaking of captivating experiences, stories are another powerful tool.
Right.
The AWAI materials give a great example of this. They talked about a campaign for like a new line of organic skincare products.
Oh, yeah?
Instead of just hitting people with technical jargon about all the ingredients, right? They told a story about a woman who like rediscovered her natural radiance after years of like harsh chemicals and stressful city living.
So instead of just listing features like organic ingredients or cruelty-free, which, let's be real, everybody's doing these days.
Everybody.
They crafted this relatable narrative that really connected with their target audience.
Totally, because they tapped into that desire for like a healthier, more natural lifestyle.
Okay.
And they positioned their product as the key to achieving that.
And that ties directly into highlighting benefits over features, right? It's not just about what the product is,
Right.
but what it can do for you.
Exactly. Features tell, but benefits sell. So let's stick with that skincare example.
Right.
A feature might be, this moisturizer contains hyaluronic acid.
Right.
Which a lot of people, they might not even know what that is, right?
Right, exactly.
But a benefit would be, this moisturizer will leave your skin feeling hydrated, plump, and youthful.
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
Right. It paints a picture of the desired outcome and positions the product as the solution.
Okay, I'm sold. But how do we actually get people to, like, take that next step?
Ah, yes. The call to action.
Right, because we can have the best product, the most compelling story, but if we don't tell people what to do next.
Exactly. You've got to guide the reader toward that specific action.
Okay. So what are some of the keys to a really strong call to action?
The AWAI materials, they had some really good insights on this.
Okay.
One of the biggest takeaways, I think, was just the importance of clarity and conciseness.
Don't overthink it.
Don't overthink it. Use action-oriented language, you know,
Right.
something that leaves no room for confusion.
So instead of saying learn more, you might say download your free guide.
Exactly. Or sign up today or claim your discount. You want to make it crystal clear what you want them to do.
And another thing that struck me from the materials was how important it is to make it incredibly easy for people to actually take that action.
Oh, 100%. Minimize those steps, you know?
Yeah.
Like if you're asking them to go to a website, make that link obvious, easy to find.
Right.
And if you can, make it trackable. That way you can see what's working.
So you can see how many people are actually clicking through.
Exactly. Every click counts.
Speaking of tracking things, what about testing? I feel like a lot of creative people, they want to like shy away from the data.
Right. They think it'll stifle their creativity or something.
These AWAI materials were very clear. Testing is non-negotiable.
It's essential. And you know what? The beauty of digital marketing is that testing's never been easier. Remember that bakery example, how they increased their sales? Well, that copywriter, she didn't just guess what would work.
Right.
She used something called A/B testing.
Okay.
Basically, she compared different headlines, different calls to action, even just the placement of images on the website to see what resonated best with the bakery's target audience.
So it's almost like a science.
Yeah.
Like you're experimenting with different elements to see what gets the best response.
Exactly. And the AWAI materials, they actually give a really good overview of different testing methods, so it's not as intimidating as it might sound.
Now, this is all incredibly insightful, but let's be honest.
Okay.
Writing, even persuasive writing, can be like downright daunting sometimes.
Tell me about it.
You know, those moments of self-doubt creep in.
Yes.
You start second-guessing every word. Any advice from the AWAI materials on how to, like, push past those insecurities and build confidence?
It's so real. Imposter syndrome is a thing.
It really is.
But here's the thing. The AWAI materials emphasize this. Confidence, it often comes from action, not the other way around.
So the more you write?
Yeah. The more you write, the better you'll get.
Right.
And the more confident you'll become in your abilities.
It's like anything else. Practice makes progress.
Exactly. And, you know, it also helps to find your people, your tribe.
Okay, yeah.
Connect with other writers, join those online communities.
Right, like the AWAI forum.
Yes, exactly. Go to industry events, you know.
Yeah.
Having that support system, that group of people who really get it, the ups and downs of this whole writing life, that can be invaluable.
It's like having your own personal cheering section
Yes, exactly.
for your copywriting journey. Okay, so let's say you've put in the work, you've honed your skills, built up your confidence.
Right.
You're ready to take that plunge into the world of freelance copywriting. Where do you even begin to find clients?
Okay, this is where those AWAI materials really shine. They give you so much practical advice.
Okay, good.
Like everything from figuring out who your ideal client even is
Okay.
to how to craft a pitch that'll make them say yes.
A killer pitch.
Exactly. But even before all that, they really stress treating your freelance business like, well, a business.
Okay, be professional.
Be professional.
Yeah.
Don't just sit around waiting for clients to magically appear.
All right.
Go out and
Yeah.
find them. Reach out to businesses, network with other professionals, build those relationships online and offline.
And speaking of relationships, I love how the AWAI materials talked about networking, like going to conferences, connecting with people on LinkedIn, all that.
It's huge because you never know where your next client's going to come from.
It's true. And I feel like those relationships, they're not just about like getting clients. They actually make this whole journey a lot less lonely, you know?
Extra percent.
Because it can be isolating being a freelancer sometimes.
Yeah. And when you connect with potential clients, having a strong pitch is key. And the AWAI materials had some awesome examples of what makes a pitch stand out.
Like what?
One thing they emphasized was like really focusing on the client's needs.
Okay.
It's not about you and all your fancy skills, right?
Well,
It's about how you can help them solve their problems, help them achieve their goals, you know?
so it's about positioning yourself as a solution, not just like another service provider.
Exactly. You're a partner. You're there to help them succeed.
I like that.
And don't be afraid to let your personality shine through, too.
Yeah.
People connect with people they like, people they trust.
It's true. People buy from people they like.
Exactly. Okay, so you've wowed them with your pitch. You've talked about the project. Now it's time to talk about the sometimes awkward part, money.
Oh, yeah, fees. How do you even approach that conversation?
This is where knowing your worth is crucial. The AWAI materials, they have that great copywriting pricing guide, gives you those industry benchmarks. But they also really stress the importance of understanding your own value.
Okay.
Like factor in your experience, your skills, how complex the project is.
So it's not like one size fits all.
Not at all. And don't be afraid to negotiate.
Okay.
It's not about being demanding, but it's about finding that win-win where everyone feels good.
Speaking of feeling good, those AWAI materials, they were big on contracts.
Oh, yes. Contracts are your friend.
Okay.
Outline everything.
Yeah.
The scope of the work, payment terms, deadlines, all of it.
So you don't have any surprises later on.
Exactly. It protects both you and the client.
Now, let's say you've landed your first client.
Yeah.
You've got that contract signed. You're ready to dive into the project.
Let's do it.
The AWAI materials had some great advice for, like, managing client relationships, making sure the workflow runs smoothly.
Communication is key, right?
Yeah.
Regular check-ins, clear updates,
Yeah.
and being super responsive to feedback.
It's about building a strong working relationship based on, like, trust and transparency.
Yes, 100%.
Now, I'm sure not every client interaction is going to be smooth sailing.
Oh.
What happens when you encounter, like, a difficult client? What do we do then?
The dreaded difficult client.
Yeah, because it's bound to happen.
It's gonna happen. It's inevitable.
The AWAI materials had some strategies for, like, navigating those choppy waters.
Yeah, and they really encourage like a proactive approach. Set those clear boundaries from the get-go, communicate your expectations effectively, and if you need to, don't be afraid to walk away from a project that's no longer serving you.
Walk away.
Sometimes you gotta. Your time and energy, it's valuable. It's okay to say no to projects that aren't the right fit.
And on that note, let's talk about something that's super important for freelancers. Online presence.
Yes, you got to have that digital storefront.
Right, because for a lot of us, that's going to be like the first impression potential clients have.
It's everything.
So the AWAI materials talked about creating a professional website, putting together a portfolio that really showcases your best work.
And don't forget about social media.
Oh, yeah.
The AWAI materials, they actually recommend platforms like LinkedIn, especially for connecting with potential clients and establishing yourself as like a thought leader in your field.
So it's all about building your brand.
Yes. Building your brand, showcasing your expertise, becoming that go-to person in your field.
And don't be afraid to get creative. Share your insights, offer valuable tips, engage with your audience in a way that feels genuine and authentic.
Yeah, show your personality. Okay, so let's say you've done all this amazing work. You're
Right.
killing it. You're ready to like level up, right?
How do we actually grow our copywriting business?
Right.
Because the AWAI materials touched on that, like expanding your services, building a team, all that.
Yeah, it can feel overwhelming.
It does.
But the AWAI materials, they do a good job of like breaking it down.
Okay, good.
They provide that framework for thinking about growth, but they also emphasize that it's a journey. It's not a destination.
Oh,
You're constantly reevaluating your goals, figuring out what you're good at,
right.
and being open to new possibilities.
And it's okay to ask for help.
Yes. Hire a business coach,
Yeah.
find a mentor, join a mastermind group,
Right.
Having that support can make all the difference.
And speaking of support and maybe a little bit of fear,
Oh, no.
let's talk about AI one more time.
Here we go.
Because there's a lot of understandable anxiety, I think, about AI's impact on copywriting.
Totally understandable.
What are your thoughts on that after diving into these AWAI materials?
It's something that everyone's talking about, and for good reason. The
Mhm.
AWAI materials, they acknowledge that things are changing, that AI is going to be more present,
Right.
but they also really emphasize that what we bring to the table, that human element,
Mhm.
creativity, empathy, strategic thinking, that's always going to be valuable.
Okay. So it's not about like fearing AI, but more about figuring out how to use it to our advantage.
Exactly. Embrace the tools, but don't forget what makes us human.
Now, that's a message I can get behind.
Yeah.
It really feels like adaptability is key here.
Yeah.
Like staying ahead of the curve, constantly learning, and remembering that what we bring as humans, that's always going to be valuable.
Absolutely.
But shifting gears a bit here,
Okay.
I'm curious about something we haven't really touched on yet. Time management.
Ooh, yeah.
Because freelancing, it sounds amazing.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
theory.
Right. But how do you actually manage your time when you're your own boss?
Right. You're working from anywhere. Deadlines are looming.
Exactly.
That's a great question because freedom is great,
Hmm.
but it also requires a lot of self-discipline.
Totally.
And the AWAI materials actually talk about this quite a bit.
Okay, good.
They emphasize the importance of establishing a routine,
Okay.
but a routine that works for you.
Right. Because some people,
Right.
they thrive on a structured schedule,
Mhm.
and others need more flexibility.
Exactly. It's about finding what works best for you, your personality, your work style.
Not trying to like fit into a mold that doesn't work.
Totally. And don't be afraid to experiment a little.
Yeah.
Like the AWAI materials, they suggest different productivity techniques,
Okay, like what?
like time blocking, the Pomodoro technique, things like that.
I've heard of those.
Yeah, and there are so many great project management tools out there now,
Oh, I bet.
specifically designed for freelancers.
Cool.
So it's about finding what helps you stay organized, focused.
Organization is key. I can see how easy it would be to just like let things slip through the cracks when you're juggling multiple clients, projects, deadlines.
Oh, 100%. And even with the best organization, even if you're like a super organized person, burnout is real.
Burnout is so real. Any advice from the AWAI materials on how to avoid that?
Yeah, they talk about this idea of sustainable success, which
Yeah.
I love,
Yeah.
meaning you can't pour from an empty cup.
That's a good way to put it.
Right, so you have to prioritize self-care, set those boundaries between work life, personal life.
Yeah, that work-life balance can be tricky.
It can be so tricky, but taking breaks, it's not selfish.
Right.
It's essential. It's for your creativity, your energy.
Yeah, to come back refreshed.
Exactly.
And speaking of refueling, let's talk about the whole money thing.
Okay.
The AWAI materials, they talked about managing your income, tracking expenses, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, the not so sexy side of freelancing.
But super important. Any insights from that section?
Definitely. Freelancing, it often means your income's going to fluctuate.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to be smart about your money.
Right. Be prepared.
Be prepared. And the AWAI materials, they really hammer home this point.
Okay.
Treat your business like a business.
Like a real business.
Set up that dedicated bank account. Track your income and expenses.
Which there are apps for now, thankfully.
Oh my gosh, so many good apps.
It's way easier than it used to be.
Way easier. And set aside money for taxes.
Yes. Don't forget about taxes.
People forget about taxes.
Not just the fun money.
Exactly. And then financial planning.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
They actually suggest talking to a financial advisor who gets freelancing because they can help with all sorts of things like retirement planning, investments, making sure you have that safety net for those,
The not-so-good months.
exactly, the lean months, as they say.
Okay, so it's like having a financial co-pilot
Yeah,
to guide you on this freelance journey.
I love that. I'm going to use that.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, before we wrap up, I want to circle back to something we talked about earlier,
Okay.
the power of community.
Yes,
Because the AWAI materials were really big on that.
they were.
Why is that sense of community so important? Especially when it feels like, copywriting can be kind of a solitary thing.
Yeah, because you're often like by yourself in front of your computer. Right.
Yeah. A lot of us working from home these days.
Exactly. But having that support system, it makes a world of difference. The AWAI materials, they had all these stories about writers who found mentors,
Oh, that's nice.
who collaborated on projects, who lifted each other up when things were tough. It was really cool to see.
Yeah, because it can be easy to get, stuck in your own head.
Totally. It's a reminder that you don't have to go it alone.
It's like that saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Ooh, I love that.
It's about finding your people,
Yes.
the ones who get you, who understand the ups and downs
The joys and struggles.
of the writer's life.
Exactly. Okay, so we've reached the end of our deep dive here.
I know, I can't believe it. It flew by.
It did fly by.
What's one key takeaway you want our listeners to walk away with today?
I want them to walk away feeling empowered.
Empowered.
Empowered, because copywriting is a skill and it can open doors to really incredible opportunities.
It can.
But it's not like this magical thing that some people have and some people don't.
Yeah.
It's a craft, it's an art, it's a business.
Mm-hmm.
And with the right resources, the right guidance,
And the right community.
and the right community, yes,
Okay.
anyone can learn to harness this power of words.
I love that feeling empowered to, craft your own path, build a successful career,
Yes.
and maybe even change the world, one word at a time.
I love it.
It's been awesome diving into these materials with you. I feel like I've learned so much.
Me too. It's been a pleasure.
And for our listeners, we'll leave you with this.
Mm-hmm.
How could you use these principles of persuasive writing, not just in your career, but in your own life, to communicate better, to get what you want, to achieve your goals?
Ooh, that's good.
It's something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.